The Principles and Patterns project, or PiP project, was a development and innovation project funded by the Joint Information Systems Committee under their Institutional Approaches to Curriculum Design programme. And essentially the project was interested in exploring technology-supported curriculum design and approval. And specifically this meant exploring how tech-supported curriculum design could better support academics during the drafting of their curricula, thereby perhaps inspiring greater reflection during the design process or encouraging them to embed more innovative practice. But the other aspect of the project was interested in how we can use technology to better support the approval process. And that was mostly interested with developing a system that was more conducive to the current HE environment. There's a lot of pressure for universities at the moment to develop responsive curriculum design patterns, and that means better responding to the needs of stakeholders such as employers. And really the only way to do that is to have a technology-supported approval system that's much more efficient and effective, but also maintains the highest standards of quality assurance. And that really wraps up the project aims. In order to better understand some of these questions surrounding tech-supported curriculum design and approval, it was necessary to embark on quite an extensive phase of evaluation. And in fact, for many JISC projects, an evaluation phase is normally expected or mandated. But it was essential for this particular area of study because not a lot is known about tech-supported curriculum design. And in fact, if you dip into the literature, you realise that there is virtually nothing written about it. And so the projects funded under the Institutional Approaches to Curriculum Design programme are actually quite a unique example of innovation and development within HE internationally. And it's for that reason that we were adamant that our approach to evaluation should be rigorous, it should be structured, and it should be to a certain extent replicable, so that we could deliver an evaluation approach that other projects could use, or other institutions that were interested in tech-supported curriculum design, then they could adopt the evaluation strategy that we've adopted to evaluate the success of their technologies within a local context. The other aspect of evaluation that complicates technology-supported curriculum design is related to its uniqueness, and that is that no one has done any activity, so we have no literature upon which to base our evaluation strategy. And so initially it can be quite disorientating if you have to create an evaluation strategy. However, when you immerse yourself in tech-supported curriculum design, you soon realise that actually it's not that unique. What it does is it draws upon a number of disparate disciplines such as information systems, human-computer interaction, organisational behaviour, business process improvement, and of course pedagogy and curriculum design. And so really the key is being able to extract the best research techniques or evaluation techniques from all of these disparate disciplines, putting them together so that you can better evaluate the technological solution proposed for curriculum design and approval. And that's really what the unique part is. It's taking all of those disparate techniques and putting them together in a particular framework. And I think that's what we've been trying to do in this particular project.
Germane to the study of technology-supported curriculum design are a number of disparate academic domains or disciplines, most notably aspects of information systems, human-computer interaction or HCI, business process management and change, organizational behavior, and of course, pedagogy and curriculum design. Such a disparate array of subject areas may at first appear disorientating, but it is unsurprising when one considers that PiP, like many other projects within the Institutional Approaches to Curriculum Design programme, is exploring the use of technology to achieve holistic institutional change. This requires that throughout the design and approval process, stakeholders interact with innovative information systems. This interaction is expected to influence not just their curriculum design, but the approval processes at the institution, and in turn affect change at an organisational level. The evaluation approach adopted by PiP was therefore designed not only to ensure key evaluation objectives were met, but to reflect the varied nature of the phenomena under study. This required using a suite of quantitative, qualitative and theoretical evaluation techniques, including heuristic evaluation. Heuristic evaluation is a usability inspection method to identify and test usability problems in user interface design. Protocol analysis, also known informally as Think Aloud, is a frequently used user testing methodology for software, interfaces and information systems, in which participants are asked to complete a series of tasks with a pilot system while simultaneously verbalizing their thoughts. Verbalizations are sound recorded and transcribed for analysis, and additional data may also be gathered during testing for future analysis, such as evaluator logs, screen captures, and so on. Stimulated recall. In stimulated recall, a recorded screen capture of the participant's system interactions is played back to the participant, who is then asked to articulate their cognitive processes and actions at specific points of the recording. Questionnaire instruments. Questionnaires are a common evaluation technique, and a variety of questionnaire instruments were used at particular points in the evaluation to capture data on stakeholders' perceptions of the current curriculum design and approval process, their attitudes to the technology PiP had developed, their IT efficacy levels, and so forth. Structural metric analysis is another popular technique. A number of scholars provide structural metrics, and these can be used to assist in the formal analysis and evaluation of business process improvement projects. Such metrics enable improvements in processes and their impact to be quantified. It also enables different process improvements or redesign strategies to be compared. Qualitative benchmarking refers to the comparison of processes or practices instead of the comparison of numerical outputs, and has been recognized as a useful general management approach. Qualitative benchmarking is essentially about comparing a previous situation or state with a current situation or new state, or comparing a new state against an established framework that defines what constitutes a good state of practice. Pareto analysis is a commonly used technique to identify the most important factors within a larger set of factors that require attention. This enables problems to be prioritized, resolved and monitored over time. Within process thinking, Pareto analysis is most generally concerned with the most common source of defects or errors in a process, or the highest occurring type of defect or error. Stage activity framework is a framework proposed by Kettinger and his colleagues, aspects of which guide the evaluation of business process change initiatives. Group interviews. Within the context of PiP, the group interview technique was used to expose stakeholder views on the institutional impact of CCAP, specifically within the area of curriculum design and approval. Group interviews are similar to focus groups, but differ in their management. In the group interview, the facilitator performs an active role in directing and structuring group discussions. By contrast, focus groups are more conducive to the generation of new ideas or concepts, with the facilitator assuming a passive role. Individual interviews were also conducted as part of the PiP evaluation. And finally, most significant change. Most significant change is a participatory, qualitative approach based on collecting stories from participants about the changes they've experienced as a result of particular projects or initiatives. Qualitative research theorists and cognitive scientists have long reported the value of story collecting methods as a way of understanding complex research phenomena or systems, particularly things like organizations and communities. Most significant change was therefore particularly useful in the PiP evaluation to expose stories as to how CCAP had changed or affected the lives of stakeholders. As you can probably surmise, some of these evaluation techniques were peculiar to particular disciplines. Heuristic evaluation, for example, is a system usability inspection method which is largely associated with human-computer interaction, whilst Pareto analysis is most closely associated with business process improvement. In other cases, some of the techniques deployed were generic but optimized using discipline-specific instruments. For example, some of the questionnaire instruments were at times optimized using customized versions of validated instruments such as Brooks' System Usability Scale or the Computer Efficacy Scale, and most significant change was favored for its ability to observe changes in large organizational contexts. Owing to the size of the evaluation required, the evaluation plan was structured to follow several evaluative strands, as illustrated by the diagram. Although, as we shall see, these strands frequently overlapped, each strand generally focused on a particular aspect of the evaluation activity. Evaluation of system pilot was largely concerned with system testing and evaluating the extent to which CCAP, the technology developed as part of the PiP project, was usable by stakeholders and supported their activities. The CCAP impact and process evaluation strand was largely focused on the human angle of the project, assessing the impact of CCAP on stakeholder groups and understanding the extent to which CCAP supports curriculum design and, more specifically, the approval process. And the evaluation of impact on business processes strand evaluated the extent to which CCAP supported various stakeholders in curriculum design and approval. Each strand contains several evaluative subphases, each of which, as you can see, represented the various evaluation techniques that were outlined earlier in this video. Although the evaluative phases within each strand were relatively self-contained, the evaluation was designed such that some phases would inform data gathering or analysis in other strands. In this respect, the structure of the evaluation was recursive, with data from some strands informing the conclusions of others by cascading down and back up the evaluative strands, as in this diagram. This enabled triangulation to occur, but it also facilitated reliability in data collection. For example, aspects of the heuristic evaluation fed into the iterative development of the CCAP system at an early stage in the evaluation process, and thereby suppressed the influence of extraneous variables to ensure that later evaluation activity captured the true impact of CCAP on institutional curriculum design and approval practices. The other notable aspect of this approach was its alignment with the incremental systems development methodology used in the technical development of CCAP. The evaluation structure and timetable mirrored the system development timetable and thereby directed and influenced subsequent development of CCAP. And from this perspective, the structure was not only recursive but reflective. And you can read more about this type of evaluation strategy and the role it played in the PiP evaluation by visiting the PiP blog.
It's difficult to summarise all the evaluation findings in this brief video, and I'm not even going to try, so I would encourage anyone that's interested in that to go to the PiP website, look at the evaluation outputs, look at the institutional story and the final evaluation report. But I suppose the biggest strength of the approach is that it was ultimately successful. It generated rich quantitative and qualitative data, and that ultimately led to better evaluation findings. We were able to analyse that data and get a true sense of the institutional impact of CCAP, the technology that was developed by PiP for curriculum design and approval. And from that data, we were able to get a sense of the effect it had on curriculum design practices at the institution, the way in which academic quality teams were using the system to support their quality assurance processes, and also the way that it facilitated process improvements in the approval process and helped the university move towards responsive curriculum design. The evaluation helped with all of that. I suppose the other big strength of the approach was that it responded to the multifarious nature of tech-supported curriculum design. As I've already mentioned, it is an area that involves disparate disciplines and domains, and so the beauty of this evaluative strategy is that it's a framework other people can now take off the shelf, customize for local purposes, and they can be confident that it will give them the data that they need to evaluate a similar system in a local context. Because we've done the spade work, we've identified the best evaluation techniques and research approaches, and we've kind of bundled them together in this unique evaluation framework. And I suppose the final strength, it isn't really related to the evaluation, well, it is kind of, but it's not explicitly. The other strength is that it supports the incremental systems design methodology. So the systems development methodology PiP adopted was incremental, and so the system was constantly evolving as we interacted with more stakeholders and got information, and information from them about their requirements and so on. And the evaluation fed into that as well. As findings came in from earlier strands of the evaluation, that fed into system development, and that was really important because it improved data collection further down the line. And I think I blog a little bit about this, so you can look at the PiP blog for more details about that. But essentially, it was about resolving system deficiencies so that evaluation further down the line wasn't being hung up on superficial things like usability of the system and so on. And so long as you can suppress those extraneous variables, then you're in a better place in order to get a true sense of institutional impact. And that's certainly something that this evaluation framework can help with.
For further information on PiP and its evaluation, you can visit the Principles and Patterns website, where there are links to the PiP evaluation plan, its evaluation outputs, and other evaluation resources. You can visit the PiP blog, and general resources on the Principles and Patterns project are also available from the JISC Design Studio.